Hey everyone, it's Barrett Chamish back, and I want you to know that these shows are hard enough to organize without people who really don't like each other necessarily. I'm saying this ahead of time. Now, Hanoch Talmor has been my doctor for 20 years, all the way back to Israel. So, look, he's my friend, but I'm not a homeopathic type person. Now, Hanoch, you're there, right?
Yeah, I'm here.
What do you think of the first hour?
Oh, it's very interesting. You know, I have different perspectives.
Please react. By the way, Kevin, Hanoch, Kevin. All right.
Nice to meet you, Hanoch.
Hi, Kevin. Nice meeting you.
Yes.
All right, go to it. I'm standing in the background. What do you think?
Well, it was very interesting. I learned some things. My perspective is totally different, and it's not religious, or one religious is more right or more wrong than the others, and so on. Let me explain a little bit. See, I'm a doctor, and people come to me with health problems. As a holistic doctor, I know that problem didn't start yesterday or a month ago when they found the patient had cancer or diabetes or whatever. It started at a very, very young age, or even in utero when the mother didn't want the baby because it was a bad surprise or unpleasant surprise, and then problems, parents divorced, so somebody was abandoned and so forth. So I can go back and dwell on all the disaster and the suffering that the person went and dwell on it and justify, blame this, blame that, but he's today. I need to help him today. The past really does not exist. And that would be similar to starting to make one religion more wrong or because of things that happened in the past. So for me, and the same applies for human relationship or inter-country relationship, religion or society, different society, different culture, now we are now, and we basically are human beings. We want to have healthy children, happy children, want to make living, to be happy. We don't want to go there and kill each other and abuse each other and so forth and so on. So just like with the patient, focus on the now and help them find a way to let go of the past. What they let go of the past, gosh. Forgive, okay? I know it's not your cup of tea, but that's what I believe.
No, it's not that.
Yeah.
You're saying that people will change?
Oh, absolutely.
It sounds like it. By the way, Kevin, can you react to that?
No, absolutely. Absolutely.
It sounds good so far as it goes.
No, listen. I thought this way of thinking, and you can read in my book, Unconditional Healing, basically the problem of all humanity on a personal level, global level, even though we have all the free energy we need, if we're allowed to, and we have 99 of modality of so-called illnesses can be prevented or healed, even when they claim to be incurable. But the reason that humanity is not there, even though it's already there in a way, just not allowed or suppressed or whatever, all this good stuff, is because of the belief system that we are victim. If you're victim, you automatically have no control of your reality, and what you're going to do, you're going to victimize others before they victimize you. Okay? And why? If you knew that you're source, you're a spark of God, and we're all humans, we all really brother when you believe or realize it or not, we want the same thing, then and you know that you're source, you create good, you could create bad, but you choose to create good because you know who you are. Then the only way to coexist is to win-win. Everybody wins, and when I win and you win, we all do much better. Instead, what the victim belief system tells you basically implies, hey, there is a problem between us. Okay, and I actually told it to Palestinians in the West Bank as well as Jews, and they totally understood. So the thing is, okay, I will, the Jews believe that the Palestinians want to throw them to the sea. The Palestinian thinks that the Jews to, take their, homes, their country or whatever. And as a result, everybody wants to be right and they create war. So they try to change reality with violence, which is a war which is Everybody loses. There's no winners. If you just take all the money ever spent in wars in the Middle East, everybody would have been millionaires just given to people. But instead, we spend energy, we damage ourselves emotionally, mentally, physically, and there's really no win. Now, instead, if you go back to the belief, which is a creation, which humanity creates with the belief, and we say, hey, okay, you're Muslim, I'm Jew, we're still human beings, we want the same thing. Once we work together, we don't have to agree, we can respect each other, and then work together.
And on what planet is this taking place?
And what? No, let me tell you, it will
like
happen on...
You're the one who disagrees with
No, hold on. Kevin, let Kevin get 2 words in.
Okay, go ahead.
Yeah, okay. Well, my reaction, what I've heard so far is, I think this is a beautiful partial truth, and I wish it would become a full truth. But, I think Barry does have a point. In the world that we live in, there are cases of injustice, aggression, and the basic kind of injustice is aggression. And there are some people who are predisposed to commit it, not only people who feel they've been victimized, that's one major factor, but we also have just aggressive people. Some of them are clinical psychopaths who go around just grabbing and aggressing whatever they want. And in this world as we have it today, where Jesus' message of turn the other cheek, just one of his messages, of course, was maybe not quite applicable to the entire world. When Islam came with the message that we have to stand up for justice and in some cases resist injustice. So
you can't turn the cheek when you're standing up.
Well, it's true, and I'm aware again. I'm not expert in Islam. I know some, and I heard, and I know people that actually studied Islam. My father-in-law actually had a master's degree, and he grew up as Muslim and was a commander. Very respect them. And I know for a fact that I have some dear friend Muslims that I call them saints because compared to others, they are absolutely unbelievable people, and they're very devout Muslim. The way I look at it is the same with Jews. There are some mean, terrible Jews, but all the people that do all this horrendous thing, whether Muslims or Arab, always, no exception, but traumatizes children, and all the anger and upset that they were caught in is because of that. It's not because they're not basically human beings. So my belief is that you can change. Actually, it's a very interesting concept. Maybe I can throw it out because I think that the possibility of peace and total harmony with Jews everywhere, or even between Muslims, if you understand this basically it's natural law. For me, what I'm saying is 1 + 1 is 2. If you say 1 + 1 is 3 and you build a building, it'll collapse eventually. Okay? So, yes, you can say some people are psychopaths, but listen, anybody can be healed if you understand this. And I taught this thing in prison for years, and the worst people can become saints, and I've seen that if they change the way they realize that they're not victim, and the only way is win-win. So also another thing, and this actually proven scientifically, if you want to get into that if only 1 square root of 1% population not only believe in what I'm saying, but experience it in the heart with love, we can totally change the world, and that has been proven. If you
wait a minute, the square root of 1%? And that would be 1%.
Yeah, this is actually the TM did, and I remember this was, I think, 84, and I was not into TM, but a very good friend went to Iowa and had some kind of deep meditation.
Yeah, I was just there in Iowa at their center just a couple months ago.
So ask them, actually it was proven. I remember I was in the hospital in Jacksonville Beach, and those 2 weeks that they meditated on peace, whatever they did, the hospital was half empty, emergency room was half empty, and they did studies all over the world. The stock markets were better, less violence, less crime. So, for example, give me, let's say the 7 million people in Israel, Muslims and Jews. Give me 700 Jews and Muslims, I don't care, okay? And I will explain to them, and actually all on my website and my videos, you can figure it out yourself, how to
Hanoch,
change the belief system, and you can bring peace and harmony, and all of a sudden, instead of focusing on trying to kill each other, changing the physical universe with force, which never worked, go back to the heart, to love, and realize that we all want the same, and work together that everybody wins. Everybody will prosper. You don't have to take anything from anybody. And don't try to go to years before to the wars. Forget about it. Where we are today, we can solve all our problems, all be happy, prosperous.
Well,
and all will be beautiful.
That's very hopeful and unrealistic. But please tell people how to get your book and get to your website. Let's get this out of the way. Okay, and then afterwards, Kevin, if you're as confused as me, you'll react. But first of all, tell people how to get to you.
Okay, my website is Talmor, like drtalmor.com. My book is there. It's available on Amazon, on Kindle, or directly from us by telephone. And my website has a lot of explanation. I have a channel on YouTube, and there is actually 2 videos on creating reality, which I give in a church, to explain exactly, and including my book, what the erroneous belief system. I believe on a personal level, on any level in the world, until we realize that we're not a victim, okay, we all one, we cannot do harm each other without harming themselves, then all the paradigm and all the creation of psychopaths, because psychopaths will heal. They wouldn't be...
Oh, hold on.
One has to be psychopath.
You're getting away from the important stuff. Spell out drtalmor.com.
drtalmor.com. And my book is Unconditional Healing.
How do you spell Talmor?
Talmor.
.com. Folks, we're archived for a week, libertyarchives.com. First of all, Kevin, now if you're half as confused, and I'm sure you are, react to what you just heard, please.
Well, actually, it makes a certain amount of sense to me. I've studied comparative mysticism, and I've talked to people from a lot of different paths, including, as I said, I was staying with some folks who practice transcendental meditation over in Iowa. I actually gave a talk on my We Are Not Charlie Hebdo book to people there in Fairfield, Iowa, just a couple of months ago. And I saw where they all sit and meditate on world peace and believe that this will have an effect in reality if you get the right number of people.
And in reality, does it?
Well, I think that, frankly, it's not. We shouldn't completely rule it out, Barry. Let me explain why. Okay,
all right. The 60-40, I rule it out.
Okay, you rule it out. I don't. The universe is it's not a material space-time continuum as we like to think in this particular civilization, but it's essentially it's an act of communication. That is, the idealist philosophers were correct. The materialist philosophers are wrong. The meaning, communication, thought, call it consciousness, if you will, is the bedrock ground of reality. That's where it all rises from.
Now? And you believe that?
I know that.
It's the bedrock of reality.
Oh, listen, not only is absolutely right. If you take the time to investigate, it was proven scientifically in quantum physics. The reality is out from consciousness, from awareness, it's energy, and the energy direct and create the universe. They found it in quantum physics that it depends what the observer or the scientist believe or expect or knows that will affect the experiment. This is on a subatomic and atomic level. But the same happens. We are consciousness, we direct energy, and we can create whatever we want. We can create war and spend a lot of energy. We create peace with less effort. We're creating happiness and joy to everybody rather than war. It's proven scientifically. If you really, I can give you the references. Look at great videos. Wilcox, all proven.
How could you lose on that? You go to war, you get disrupted, you lose people. It's tragic. I can prove that without even going to war.
Right, and that
you can prevent it.
Yeah, why have people been going to war for millennia?
Good question.
Maybe it's struggling for resources led to the sort of the pre-civilization kinds of wars, which are not all that lethal, but there seems to have been human on human violence going all the way back as far as we know historically, And probably that process led to kind of institutionalizing that kind of violence, and it became kind of part of the human ecosystem. But maybe we're at a point, or maybe we've always been at a point where that could be changed. I don't know, but I do know that we can't rule this out on the kind of grounds that we all know how the universe works as this kind of Darwinian struggle of all against all. People are basically just machines in a material space-time continuum. That's not true. As Dr. Talmor says, the quantum physicians have proven that, in fact, reality is popping into existence from quantum waves of probability or possibility at every instant as consciousness is looking at it. And the way it pops into existence, the reality that we get, depends on the act of looking at it. And, of course, the mystics in all the great religious traditions have known this in one way or another forever. So I don't think we rule it out, but I do think that we have to figure out how to deal with the problem of evil, which is also very real. And there are various ways of dealing with that. I personally go with the Islamic teaching that one just has to be absolutely pure and stand up for justice and truth in every situation.
I would go with the Jewish teaching that if we're not realistic and we don't realize that our worst enemy is from within, we can't, if you believe the lying history that's been shoved down our throats, no problem. But if you're realistic and you don't, maybe you can get to the bottom of it and create something real. That's my teaching.
Okay, Barry, I really need to say something. Let's talk about religion. The problem is not religion, the interpretation of religion. I believe that all original teachings, certainly Jesus, and I assume, again, I know Muhammad was the same thing, because there's some wonderful things in Islam, I was told, and in the Quran. Of course, there are things that like in the Bible, that are horrendous, but somebody told me, the Muslim, maybe it's not written in the Quran, but it's one of the teaching. If somebody is bad, love them. If they're still bad, love them more. If they're still bad, love them more, and so until they're good. You see, in my view, all religion failed, not because anything wrong with them in essence, but they put into religion teaching fear and ignorance. So now I believe what I've seen, and I've known people from all religions, that it's really not the religion that you believe. You focus only on the positive, on love, not on, I'm better than him, or he's wrong because he called his God such, and I call my God such. And religion actually ended, I don't think it was the intention of the people that created them, to actually separate humanity, create war, because most people, because of the indoctrination, which also there is a reason for that, which I'll explain in a minute, is that they're preventing people for having the paradise now in love and harmony.
The what now?
Religions tell you, that by understanding, okay, you have to be good, do this, follow this and this and this and that, okay? And then when you die, if you're good and do what we tell you, basically give your power away, then you go to heaven. That's how I see religion.
That's not Judaism.
No, Barry. I have nothing against Judaism and Jewish, and I'm okay with Judaism. But in Judaism, you have to have how many? 356 mitzvot or commandments that you have to do otherwise you whatever. Now, maybe it's not the intention, but that's how the religion is run. Okay, Christianity is the same thing. Jesus' teaching were perfect, but there are certain changes in interpretation. Now, maybe 80% or 50% is wonderful, and it's love and it's harmony. It's exactly what I'm saying, I'm preaching. But if you just focus on that, I don't care what religion you are, you'll be saint, you'll be perfect, you'll be close to God. Now, but most people, and that because of manipulation, don't get there. And the reason is, and I explained it in my video on my website, which is called Brain Regeneration, but it has to do with the belief system, is that when you're victim, you give power to somebody else. So you give power to the drug companies, to poison people, and they make money. They want to be healthy because they lose money. So to make war and to create military-industrial complex, and you create bankers that make money on both sides, and all the good things that we know, quotation mark, in the world, they destroy the world. They don't allow you to have free energy because they will control you with with fossil-based energy and so forth and so on. The solutions are there, but we give so much power to the people that manipulate us instead of using our heart, love, and non-judgment. And then they created victim solution, and they become so powerful. They buy our politicians, they buy our media in the United States. Also in the rest of the world, it's not as bad as here, but it's getting there. That population is totally brainwashed. So most people...
Hanoch, תדע משהו. אני עדיין לא שכחתי את העברית שלי, ואני מכיר את הבעיה בישראל, וזאת לא הבעיה. Now, Kevin, I said something you didn't understand to confuse you. When you come back, you tell him what you think Israel should become, and Hanoch, you tell him what you think Israel should become, and you might find a very different belief system going on here.
All right.
Right, folks?
Okay.
Right?
Okay, I'm looking forward to it. Are we going into a break?
We will shortly. Start the ball going. All right.
I can't react to your Hebrew, but
he lost many of his family in the Holocaust, as did I. We're both Hebrew-speaking Israelis. Now you tell us what you should think should happen to our country, where our children and our families live. What do you think should be done, huh?
Well, ideally, if Dr. Talmor could convince Bibi and some of the other leaders to adopt his philosophy, I think
he can't.
I think the problem would solve itself. But barring that, I think that some form of pressure needs to be exerted against the hardline Israeli leaders who are pursuing such an incredibly unjust policy, in order to essentially pressure the country into making peace with the Palestinians. And, of course, that means returning to the 67 borders, admitting right of return, at least in principle, and embracing the Palestinians as fellow countrymen and equals.
They're not in the same country. If you're creating another country, they're not equals. They're in separate countries.
Well, what do you mean separate countries? And historic Palestine is one.
90% of everything it owned.
Well, listen, I don't think it's the Israeli problem, Netanyahu problem. I think that most in history, Jews and Muslims lived in harmony and mutual respect. There always times where, their manipulation by usually politicians or leaders that wanted to gain something out of rivalry and war in between. I believe, what I understand, that all the extreme Islam was created by the same people as around the world because they needed a war between Jews and Muslims and between Muslims and Muslims because, that's how they get their energy and the power from war. But if people were left alone, I give you an example. Before the Intifada or in between them, I had some friends that, unfortunately, I wouldn't even dare to contact them in West Bank because they're wonderful, wonderful people and great, wonderful people. And they actually, at the time, they're very prosperous. I mean, the guy was a dentist, has tons of Israeli,
all right, Hanoch, what's your point
here? Anyway, the point is, it's not only Israeli. There is, I don't know if Kevin is aware, but the PLO or whatever, the Palestinian Authority, they talk one thing in English and see what they say in the school. They preach hate to small kids. It's not good. Okay, so both sides are doing things. What I've seen, and I know for fact, I'm from there, that if you train kids to be suicide bombers and young
I'm going to interrupt you right now. The labor Zionists who brought us peace, who brought us Oslo and the return of the Sinai, oh gosh, they're the ones who got us the Holocaust. Your peacemakers are the butchers. All right, you know what? We have to take 3 minutes off. Now I'm getting emotionally involved. Maybe it's good. Who knows? Guys, carry on as before. I swore I wouldn't get emotionally involved. You're getting me riled. All right, folks, in 3 minutes we come back, and who knows where this goes. Folks, stick around. This is Barry Chamish.
Years ahead of the dominant media, FirstAmendmentRadio.com and FirstAmendmentRadio.net. The program you are listening to is 100% sponsored by you, the listener, on this First Amendment Rights Media channel. You will notice that there are few commercials on this radio network. There's a good reason for that. Corporate advertising dollars come with strings that limit program content. So without your help, these programs cannot continue on Internet or our several affiliates. If you benefit by the educational law programs, we ask you to give. If you are admonished or nurtured by the Bible and ministry programs, we ask you to give. If some voice a cause that you are passionate about, we ask you to give. If you believe in any of these, we ask you to support them as you would a missionary on a continual basis, as if giving a tithe for missionary radio. These programs are not commercially viable and must be supported by those faithful to the cause of truth. Look for the button to sponsor your favorite programs at our listen and schedule pages on the Internet. Then, when you subscribe, we will send you the last quarterly MP3 CD of that program immediately, and continue to do so with each new quarter. We will also give you unlimited archive access to all of our programs. We're asking you to give much less than a tithe, so that you may also send support directly to a particular program host, cause, and anywhere else the Spirit may lead you. Do all to the glory of our God and Creator, for His holy nation, the only kingdom that will last forever. Thank you for listening. Gold and silver is tremendously undervalued. Global demand vastly exceeds mine supply by more than 60% annually. There is little in the financial world more certain than a coming explosion in the prices of gold and silver. The U.S. dollar continues to lose value and respect as the world's reserve currency. Our nation faces challenges on many fronts, and a day doesn't pass without another economist bringing forth warnings of impending economic calamity. There has never been a better time than right now to acquire physical gold and silver. Discount Gold and Silver Trading was founded on the principles of truth and honesty. We believe in providing a quality product, quality service, and most importantly, competitive pricing. We provide all forms of precious metals, including American gold, silver, platinum, and rare investment and circulated coins. Silver bars, rounds, and 90% silver bags are on hand for the silver investor. Gold self-directed IRAs are available. Call Discount Gold and Silver Trading at 1-800-375-4188. Toll free, that's 1-800-375-4188.
All right, folks, let me plug myself. I have a book all about the return of Gaza, the expulsion of Jews from Gaza. I predicted you're going to see a terror state. You're going to see it in the Sinai when they left the Sinai. And we got it. We got a terror state. Egyptians are terrorized and we're terrorized and we got a war. You get all my books, including Bye Bye Gaza, at lulu.com, www.lulu.com. Write in Bye Bye Gaza or just write in my last name, Chamish, Chamish. You'll get to my books. My webmaster, David Samarin, I was in touch with him yesterday, and he's still keeping up my site, www.barrychamish.com. All right, folks, let's go into it. I'm going to let Kevin start, and I'm going to let Hanoch answer, and I'm going to go into the background.
Okay, well, where to start? I mean, I think that what Hanoch is saying actually makes a lot of sense to me, frankly. I think that trauma in an early age probably is responsible for a lot of the bad behavior we see around us, and that if folks could elevate their consciousness and purify their intentions and otherwise work on their souls and spirits, we'd all be able to rise to a new level of humanity and put a lot of this kind of violence behind us. But at the same time, I think there's one, it's one thing to say it, and it's another thing to actually find a way to put it into action. And it's always easier to be a sort of a theoretician of how things ought to be than to figure out how to really, fix things in reality. And
that is.
Okay, so let me answer that.
I said it's in the background, but of course.
Okay, let me answer that.
Not exactly the deep background.
Okay, let me answer that. So again, and by the way, it's no point. I mean, you can find blame in the side of Israel on many, many levels. There are always bad people that do bad things, and then both sides are, and it's futile to get into that if you want a solution. So what I'm saying is, let me just give you an example. How things should be. I mean, hopefully. Let's say you have a good friend. Obviously, he's not Jesus, he's not perfect, okay? But why is your good friend and you help each other, you enjoy each other company? Not because he's perfect, but you choose to focus on what you see as positive in him, even if it's not true, doesn't matter. You see, and if anything's less than perfect, you just don't pay attention or you ignore or you just, okay. Somebody else hates the same guy. Somebody hates the same guy, but it's the same guy. But what he does, he's focused only on the negative things, real or not real. And as a result, they have different relationships, and they may fight or be at war. Same thing within people. So there's no point on focusing on the negative things. There are plenty. Also, no point, as far as I'm concerned, focus on what the Zionists did or the Mufti did. Forget about it. You live now. Don't carry your past. For example, just being observing as Israeli Jew, they carry all the victimization of all the generation, obviously, God forbid, on the Holocaust. But when you believe that you're victim and you worship victim, even with good intention, you will attract victimization. Okay, that's the law of nature. What you believe or you don't want, you attract it. So both people have to get rid of their own stuff. And now, what is the solution? I have an extremely simple solution. It's been proven scientifically. Consciousness of people that in the same wavelength, that really first release all judgment. Okay, whatever happening between the Jews and Arabs, not good, bad, right, wrong. It is what it is. Okay, by judging, you just resist and you give part to the warrior and victimizer part in each cultures, okay? And the end is just self-destruction. It's futile. Focus on the release all judgment. Be in your heart, be in love with Judaism.
In other words, you find something in common. Is that what you're saying?
Right. And then get enough people, because the coherence of love, okay? You see, it's actually been proven that molecules are affected by electromagnetic or electric energy and magnetic energy. The most powerful part of your body as far as energy is your heart. It's not your brain. It has 100 times more electricity than the brain and 5,000 times more magnetic force. So when you stay in your heart, not anger, hate, that will amplify the energy and create havoc. Just feel peace, love, compassion. That's what God does, and it keeps the universe going. So when you do that, and just continuously, you can be it in your life during all day. Everything that you do, release all judgment, bless, send love. If enough people do that continuously, and that's what I teach my patients, because you see, I've seen people miraculously healing, and with not practically any exception. Who are the ones that were sent home to die from cancer and get into complete remission? People that change the heart. This is the key. Healing not only physically, it's 90% of the physical healing is the heart, the love, releasing judgment, releasing anger, hate, negative belief, victim belief system, and releasing the past. It doesn't exist. Forget about it. And if we focus on the now, we'll be more than happy to concede to each other, just to love each other and to have everything in harmony. Now, it will take,
you sound like
science,
a hippie. This is what we used to say in '69.
Yeah, well, there are a lot of people saying this.
But it's still valid. You just have to find me 700 people in Israel or whatever millions we have in the Middle East, and there will be Muslim, because there are a lot of good Muslim and wonderful Jews, spiritual Jews, not burned out by religion or blinded by religion, that will do that. It will wake up everybody. You see, the way mass consciousness works, let me give you an example. If you told anybody that communism will fall 6 months before it falls, you say, you're deranged, you're crazy. But it did, and that's what's going to happen when enough of humanity will wake up all over the world. But if we do it intentionally in big group, we'll just speed it up exponentially. And then not only that, all the people that do all these bad things that we all know, conspiracy, cease to exist. They won't be able to exist. That's my
religion
theory.
Basically as where Jews are turning because they're finding out that the secular Jews led them to a lot of horrible, horrible trouble.
Yeah, because they don't believe in God. They believe that humans are God, and humans are not God. That's the problem with all secular, atheistic. They still can be good people, and many of them meaning good.
Are you telling Kevin to give up his religion?
Well, no, that is my religion. That shirk is the worst sin in Islam, which is associating something with God, like making people your God. So that's what you're talking about is exactly right. But as far as what you said about giving up judgment, I think that's a half-truth, because I think it's more important to kind of give up the ego, or, we call it the nafs al-amara bisu, the desiring ego, the ego that wants good for itself, for the ego. You need to step outside of that, whether it's the Buddhists say drop your desire, etc. You get outside of that, and then you see the way things really are. And then
let me make a correction.
Discernment.
Yes, you make a correction. When you say stop no judgment, it doesn't mean you don't have discernment. It doesn't mean you're going to do the bad things that somebody else is doing, or hurting others, but you don't judge. You cannot play God. You don't have all the circumstances. How he was traumatized as a child, the best is just let go. Don't put any energy. In fact, if you just forgive him if you need and release all judgment and just bless him or send him love, it'll create healing. That's what really creates healing. So I'm not saying don't that everything is okay, the bad is okay. In a way it is, but from higher perspective, the reason for everything, we not God to spend energy, to waste our energy, because not only that what you resist persists and you give it energy, you reiterate and you beat yourself up because you enforce your belief, which we all have been indoctrinated in all cultures that I know of, almost all of them, that you're a victim. So then you continue victimization of yourself, of others, without even realizing, being blind to it. So again, it's a matter
Kevin,
of.
Did you say that, or did I miss something?
Not exactly, but I mean, I basically agree with this approach to healing. You don't want to be acting out of victimization, but let's take a different approach. Let's say that I'm not, I'm working on giving up my ego and just seeing the world the way it really is. And let's say, God willing, I succeed to some extent at that, and I'm looking out at the world with fresh eyes. And what do I see? I see this bully just beating the crap out of some innocent person over and over and over and over. Now, at that point, what do? I think I call it judgment, call it discernment, but I see that that's the reality. Here's a bully that's victimizing an innocent person. This group or this person is the aggressor, and they're bullying or aggressing on this victim, and that's what's actually going on. It's my duty to get up and stop that.
Yeah, but you can be much more effective stopping. I don't mean you don't need to defend yourself in cases like that or help others, but if you do it without judgment, you'll be much more effective, more powerful. Okay, it's the judgment of negative that gives it power. Okay, there are cases of people in some cases, people were met by a robber, and he was going to say, okay, if you want to shoot me, shoot me. It's a good day to die like any day. And the robber just threw the gun and ran away, freaked off. You don't resist evil. It doesn't mean you don't protect yourself, don't do what's needed. But if you stop thinking that way and resisting, things will fall in place. And that's what I believe will happen, because
missed that. Now, Kevin, I think I understood he said, just take it in the nose, right?
No, not taking. Okay,
turn the other cheek?
Well, giving that a cheek is a symbol. Give it a cheek mentally, okay? You see, when you do martial art, you don't resist, you don't angry, you just stay focused on your energy. Okay? If you resist somebody bad, you give them energy, you hurt yourself. Okay? So you're an observer, and if you send love, you receive love. You know, in the Aikido, there is history of people that just shot at the Aikido master and the bullet just dropped. Because again, consciousness is more powerful. Now again, of course, if you're Jesus or if you can do miracles, we not yet, but the possibility is for all humanity. Let me also point out something. Also, there's a lot of scientific evidence. You see, the way I explain things, there is a matrix of God, divine matrix, whatever that God created. You don't even control your own life. You don't make your heart pound. It's automatic. The tree grows. There is a divine matrix that directs everything, and that's proven scientifically. Now, when you're born, when you're in your mother's womb, you have a certain number of cells equal. And all of a sudden, they become all these incredible babies with all the organs. And we know the DNA that was identical initially is different. Different organs create different chemicals and proteins and so forth. Now, the matrix continues to exist, but what happened, the stress of our mother during pregnancy causes energetic disruption that predisposes to illnesses. Then all the negative belief system we grow into. This is why kids that are innocent, beautiful, as they grow,
you lost me here.
Innocence. It's the belief system.
Where did the negative
from
come
God
from?
matrix. That's all.
What's a matrix?
Okay, if you in the Chandra project, you can check it out. They by some kind of special camera, they took pictures of the void, of space, empty space, and what they find out that it actually was full of stuff. It looks like almost like exactly like the brain, dendrites, some lines and light points was just like a brain. Okay. And so that we know actually today, and it's all the ancient philosophies, that space is not empty. They also proven scientifically that all the knowledge, even if your lifetime, does not exist in your brain. It's in 0, 1, or whatever you want to call it.
Again, when you say scientifically, I don't even see what the scientific test would be.
Well, you can check it out.
What are you saying scientifically is proven?
For example, there's a guy in England that actually had 5% of his brain, all the rest of liquid, but the guy had the degree in mathematics, university degree. And the other case is that most of the brain, because your body is actually an antenna that communicates with this matrix that have all the knowledge. This is what we call Holy Spirit, Shekhinah, the matrix of God, whatever its belief system, doesn't matter. So all the information is there. We just tune on the information. So if you're a journalist and good person, you tune on that. If you're an artist, you tune on that. But all the wisdom, everything has come from God. We connected to God on some level, but we disconnected with our negative belief system. The more we connect with and we can do it only with our heart, not just 5 senses and brain, that create war and destruction and reason to victimize others because of victim belief system. But you can totally change that. Okay, then we become.
All right, hold on,
beings.
Kevin. I think I caught the end. Do you relate to that?
Well, yeah, yes and no. I mean, I do. I relate to it as a accurate description of reality at some very deep level. Yeah, I think they're roughly accurate at least. So I agree with that. But when I look around at the social world of human beings, I don't see people who look like they're quite ready to figure this out. I mean, maybe, I don't know. I mean, it seems like a few people do figure this out in their own little bits and pieces in different ways. And, maybe everybody has little flashes where they get a little bit of it. But seeing this kind of awareness, like sort of, sweeping through the world in a 100th monkey phenomenon or even, sweeping through Israel and Palestine, is something I would very much like to see. But I have to agree with you, Barry, that it's not obvious that it's happening right now. I mean, I've seen the polls that show that virtually all Jews in Israel approved of these last 2 mass slaughters of people in Gaza. I mean, to me, you got your work cut out for you spreading this in Israel.
No, Kevin, this is not true. That's nonsense. That's not
Israel.
True.
The more the merrier. What are you talking about? The intention was to wipe Israel off the map. Look, Kevin, you can't take everything from one perspective. That's where you go wrong. All right, Hanoch, back you go. Your turn.
Okay, well, again, there's a lot of propaganda, misrepresentation on both sides. A lot of it also on your side, because yes, what's happening in Gaza is terrible, but you ignore shooting for 14 years. Basically try to kill the civilian population. But anyway, it doesn't really even matter. My good news, my belief is, yes, you may well you say it's sporadic, very few people get it. I think you're very wrong here, because it's happening. There's a lot of people, as I know, in Israel and all over the world, and it'll take critical mass. Okay, just like at a certain point, water, a certain temperature, it melts exactly. When we get this critical point...
Water melts? You mean
at certain temperature, there is a threshold in nature. Okay, so when mass consciousness, if enough people realize that, and what I tell people to do what I'm suggesting, actually I'm suggesting to my patients just to improve their life, their health, for their own good. They really don't do it for the benefit of the planet or altruistic motive. You really do it for yourself. And when you do it for yourself, you know the truth, and then you change mass consciousness. Enough of us do that, and consistently, not just when we go to prayer once a day, when we meditate, but we do it all the time. Okay, enough of us do that. You will see that amazing, wonderful thing will happening. I think it's just a matter of time. I don't know if it happened next week or in 10 years or 50 years.
Have you ever seen this happen?
Oh, I am, absolutely.
Well, Barry, there is some scientific evidence for this out of the Noetic Institute in California, where I've had Dean Redan on my show a few times, and he's talked about how, for example, they have a random number generator that actually they found it fluctuates with events that affect the mass consciousness. The biggest fluctuation they've ever seen was right before 9/11. And so just these supposedly random numbers that come up are actually affected by mass consciousness.
But what institute?
The Noetic Sciences Institute.
Actually, I think it was done by Stanford. There was a big, and they published it. And actually, the reaction to 9/11 started before and continued after. And they did many things, the same with the tsunami. I mean, all this, there is enough. You see, you don't hear it in the mainstream because they don't want you to know that you're so powerful. You don't have to be enslaved and believe lies and be manipulated one against the other, which they won't, because that's how they keep their power. But instead, if you really look for, everything has been proven, not only been proven scientifically today, and it's been kind of brushed aside because it's not politically correct for academicians to tell the truth, especially when it's not the truth that served whoever in the powers to be that gained from it. All ancient philosophies have the same thing. The Sufism, which is Muslim, the Kabbalah, the Indian teaching, the Vedas. I mean, everything is known. Okay, I'm not saying anything new, okay, but it's been suppressed for whatever,
Is there a conspiracy to suppress this? A lot of people think that maybe, whether it's Freemasonry or whatever, that there may be organized groups that have learned how to use psychic powers, the kinds of things you're talking about.
Absolutely, but it's a win-lose. It's a victim belief system. So in order to be on top, I have to victimize others. But this is self-destructive. It will never succeed. The only thing
it's already succeeding.
No.
The whole Middle East, you can't find a square yard of peace in the Middle East.
Yeah, but the Middle East is very interesting. If you've been to Jerusalem, the energies are incredible. Okay, so what happened with this? God, whatever energy, I won't even label it, is strong. It drives the crazy people, the mean people, meaner and crazier, and the good people more. Eventually, what has to happen, just forgive and love and stop judging. I don't care how bad things they are. Just don't judge each other. Don't judge the other side. Don't judge anything. Instead, bless them and send them love. If enough people do that, there will be a breakthrough, one in very short period of time. People wake up and say, hey, what are we doing? Are we crazy trying to kill each other? And all the solutions will come up, because the solution comes from God, which is love, harmony, and compassion. All the rest is God allow us to play the game. And let me give you another perspective. I know Muslims believe in reincarnation as Jews. Christian, it was taken out of Christianity, even though taught by Jesus. But, the extreme Muslim that hate the Jews and do, next lifetime be religious Jews that victimize Muslim, and the religious Jews will be Muslim next lifetime. We all one. We come from the same source.
Next lifetime? What do you mean next lifetime?
Well, I believe in reincarnation, like most cultures and religions. And so the Jews that are good could be next time good Muslim, good Jews, good, and the people that are mean and evil. Now, if the planet changes, they'll have to go to another planet where there's war and meanness to experience it until they wake up. Because I believe I won't judge anybody, because eventually they have eternity to learn. So if they want to be angry, mean, and believe that the victim, hey, this is why I don't criticize conventional medicine, because if a lot of people believe the victim, they need to be victimized to heal. The doctors serve the purpose because God allowed this to happen, not because it's good or bad, because if you have negative belief that's not in alignment with God's rules or laws or whatever you want to call it, you're going to suffer. And the purpose of suffering is to wake up and change your ways to the ways that I'm talking about. And when you die, you'll find out what it is, and then you get the chance again.
I don't want to wait that long.
Hanoch, can I ask you how you came to this realization? I mean, biographically, what led you to this?
Well, I actually, my parents, came to Israel, but you can call, I guess, Zionists, but I didn't have any religious upbringing, any extreme. I mean, I was in Israel in all the holidays and the culture, but I was never, indoctrinated specifically. And, when I got into holistic medicine, which is interesting because I was conventional doctor, and I didn't know any better, and I had the victim belief system like all good human beings. But when I realized that children got well only when I helped them resolve conflict at home and nobody else could figure out, and then so I started work with consciousness for many years, even before I was in practice, and I had people heal themselves from terminal cancer and all kinds of things that as a doctor I would never believe in my life that's possible. I saw it in my eyes, many in my eyes. And the reason is that all I did, I just realized that consciousness affects the body. And I believe just like individually, all our experience life is the results of all our traumas, good beliefs, bad beliefs, which we can change. Same thing between countries, organizations, we all can change. And go back to God, so to speak, in a way that will create the Garden of Eden on earth of peace and love, and not have to create the opposite unnecessarily. It's absurd if you really think about it from that perspective. So why live in absurd?
Well, as I understand this Islam, we are supposed to try to make the world as close to the Garden of Paradise as we can.
Yeah,
and that's one reason that Muslims have built beautiful gardens in places like the Alhambra, and Iran, of course, is famous for its gardens.
Yeah, but listen to the word. If you just told that you to try is not doing it. You either do it or don't. Mm-hmm. If you go to your heart, then you know what's right, and you can align with your religion, with the positive part, whatever religion it is. You can find it, I believe, not necessarily through religion, because God is the same for all of us, whether you call it a different name or believe that our God better than others. That's a cosmic joke to God. Okay, but we have to wake
folks,
up.
We only have a little time, and I want my listeners to get a chance to know you. Both of you. Start with Kevin. Tell people how to get... Well, first of all, the book I'm in, We Are Not Charlie Hebdo. Tell people how to get that. And then, by the way, Hanoch, you're next.
Okay, they can go to wearenotcharliehebdo.blogspot.com, and they can also just go straight to Amazon looking for We Are Not Charlie Hebdo, Freethinkers Question the French 9/11. And my personal website is truthjihad.com.
Truth Jihad. Now, there's a friendly name for a website. All right. Come on.
drtalmor.com.
Your turn.
drtalmor.com. You can find my book. You can find information about what I teach. It's a lot of things you need to know that you don't know that hurt you. And again, what I suggest to people, study this thing for your own good. And
we're running out of time.
All right, it's okay. So everything on my website.
Right?
Right. And do it for you, not
Folks,
to change the world.
Both of you were remarkably liberal in your views. I don't know what to say.
I like what I'm hearing. Barry, I like what I'm hearing.
Thank you both.
Anyway, nice meeting you, Kevin. You're good. You're cool.
Good
night, folks.